James bends over on his bed with his ass up in the air and was showing his ass and didn't say anything in the first picture.
James Charles 24/7 YouTube drama watch, yeah. The #1 place on YouTube for James Charles drama.
James Charles paid to have sex with this 21-year-old guy, flew him out. Let's talk about it. James Charles had sex with Evan Johnson? There is a hit piece documentary about to drop. Let's watch the trailer.
So James knew.
Yes.
That's a fact. The only question is, he either didn't believe Kayla or he didn't care. You believe this video depicted James Charles and Evan Johnson having sex?
Oh yes, 100%. You can hear.
Is there definitive proof that James Charles knew that Evan Johnson was an abuser and then pursued a sexual relationship with him afterward? Your knowledge, what happened between them on that weekend together?
So on that weekend, Evan had Snapchatted me and he was laying in James's bed.
I think James needs help from professionals, and I think Evan needs to be in jail. For the most part, he operated and identified as a straight man, which is actually James Charles's type. We just want to let you know that we love you and we support you.
That's Kayla.
And we're here for you if you need anything.
Thank you. I love you guys so much, and I'm like really excited to see you guys.
Oh! So rumors are already circulating that James Charles has contacted or is going to contact his legal team to stop the documentary from going, but those are just rumors. Now, as of the time of making this video, James Charles has not responded in the situation at all with Evan Johnson, with Kayla Malik, and this is not a good look for his brand Painted because it also reflects his ability to sell product. Now, other people I heard are going to chime in within the week. Trisha Paytas, Jeffree Star, Shane Dawson, and other YouTubers are going to drop their videos. I think this is a whole new TikTok drama getting about to pop off. Let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. Keep it locked in because we have the receipt.
But James was very, very serious.
Here's from the documentary. We have the clip right here. Here we
I have
go.
no doubt in my mind that James would spend a large sum of money to prevent this story from being exposed to the public. That's there. Because that's how influencers make their money, off their reputations and this idea that you know them when you really don't, and you have these parasocial relationships. And that's why it's so hard sometimes to not go after people, but it's hard to hold people accountable. Because people, and young people specifically, and he has a very young fan base of young girls. That's primarily his demographic, which is why it's so alarming. And I think that people have a right to...
So this video was over like an hour long or something. I clipped the best parts. I want to talk about it. You know, it has now been exposed that James Charles was, paid to play. He flew out a young guy. They hooked up. We also found out that he knew about Kayla and the boyfriend breaking up. Allegedly, James Charles and Kayla were best friends. And as soon as he found out that they broke up, he told that boy, come over to Hollywood, flew the boy out. And this is a lot. This is a lot to unpack. And some of you are going to disagree with me. And some of you are going to agree with me. But I think that a lot of people are focusing on this thing. They're saying, oh, James Charles paid for sex. He paid this guy to hook up. He flew this young guy out. Let's talk about this. First of all, the guy was, I believe, 21 years old. James Charles is 26, 27. There's a big age difference there. But listen, I'm not nitpicking that. As long as he's legal, long as they're consenting adults, long as they're legal, have your fun. I mean, I have to be fair. There are older men who date younger women all the time. They get married. I mean, my father was 6, 7 years older than my mom. So it's like, this is part of the gig. With that being said, I'm not going to hold James to the flames over flying out this young guy. But it is a note. Okay, he likes younger guys. All right, cool. But nothing to hold him to the flame for. Pattern of behavior, though. You know what I'm saying? Second part is the pay to play. The guy was straight. He was dating Kayla. He was really upset that they broke up. He wanted to be a model. He sees James Charles. You know, he knows James Charles through Kayla. So he's like, you know what? He's in my DMs. This could be my ticket to fame. I could maybe get a modeling gig with this guy. This is something I could maybe parlay this into something. It's almost like clout chasing in a way. That was the only thing he had. So James Charles offered to fly him out. He flew out. Mondo, go ahead. Go. What do you got to say?
Listen, first of all, okay, Evan was already cheating with James Charles. That's why Michaela was beating his ass. Well, Kayla. Sorry, not Kayla. Kayla was already beating that ass. Okay, so this has been going on for a while now. And, you know, let's also talk about the underlying drug habits that nobody wants to talk about because people in their right mind don't do these things.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be under the influence, drunk, high, you know what I'm saying? Just to get, I mean, come on now, James Charles, girl, I don't care how high I am, how drunk I am, I would never, okay? For never. And I don't care how much money, $45K, $5,000, none of that. You ain't touching me, boo. Okay? Go ahead and touch them Pampers, baby. Go to prison. Okay? We ain't doing that. Okay? And secondly, you know, no wonder he got beat up by her. Okay? Because she knew he was doing her dirty. And to top it all off, we don't know what kind of venereal disease James Charles has.
We're going way too far now. You're going way too far now.
I'm a psychic, bro.
Okay, so, but at the end of the day, Evan Johnson was gay for pay. At the end of the day, Evan Johnson was gay for pay. At the end of the day.
Out.
What?
Flat out, gay for pay, girl. Trade, baby. Gay trade. That's right, baby. Gay for pay, baby. Okay, and the girl's mad. Okay.
Tati Westbrook was right when she said that James Charles likes to crack the code. Blah blah blah. There ain't no code to crack. You give them a few tequilas, throw them $10,000 for some hanky panky, and that's how it goes down. Consensual adult. Girls sell pictures all the time. Men sell pictures and videos all the time. They're consenting adults, and I'm not defending James Charles, because I already know how y'all are in the comments.
Yeah, no.
I'm not defending.
Reality is reality.
That's the reality is that a lot of these guys on here are straight, but they will do something strange for a little bit of change.
They sure will, baby. They sure will.
I'll give you a nickel to tickle your pickle.
That's right.
Bruh. So anyways, the issue at hand is the fact that James Charles knew, according to this interview, thank you, Brian.
Exactly.
James Charles knew that he was hitting that girl, and that was his allegedly best friend, his best girlfriend, and you, behind her back, after she dumped her boyfriend, you flew him out for the weekend.
No, that's the reason why that's the reason why they broke up, though.
No, they broke up before that. No. It wasn't because of James Charles.
Well, yeah, James Charles seeked opportunity.
He saw this kid that looks like a model that was down on his luck, that just broke up with his girlfriend, and he was like, you know what, I'm gonna fly him out, and everything's gonna be on the down low. But James Charles didn't know that the whole time Evan was talking to this kid right here that's doing the interview. This is not a good look for James Charles. And you know what? I've been hearing that Trisha Paytas is going to drop a video. Tana Moto's going to drop a video. Ethan Klein, Jeffree Star, boom. All these videos are going to be dropped. And James Charles, as of the time of making this video, is still radio silent. And this has been bubbling. This has been bubbling on TikTok for weeks now. I have dropped video after video after video, and every time I do, it gets more views and more views and more views. And it's about to explode. Y'all are right here.
Relevant. We gotta keep it relevant.
Guys, drop heart emojis in the chat. Drop a rose in the chat, guys. Go ahead.
Subscribe. Somebody subscribe. We need some subscribers here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously.
Thank you, Brian. There we go. All right, let's go back to the interview.
So, first of all,
Wait.
you need to get some more people up here.
I'm gonna go back to the interview. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Obviously, Evan.
Let's watch the next clip that I have here. Here we go.
Tell me about the weekend that James Charles and Evan Johnson spent together.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
The weekend.
absolutely. So I was the only person that knew that Evan was going to LA and that James was flying him out to LA. So it was a very last minute thing.
Let me just say that if you're a straight man and you have a gay man flying you out for the weekend, you already know what's going down, baby.
James continued to beg, like, come to LA, like, we can have some fun, you know, we can hang out, hang around the house, like, you know, we can just, you know, chill. But I think it's just best that you can come out.
In this interview, you're going to listen that James Charles and this guy never left the house. And when they did, they had to wear like costumes and outfits all dressed in black so the paparazzi don't see them. This is insane. This is, oh my gosh.
Here and, you know, get your mind off things, which didn't sit right with me because I was there for Evan every single day through all the hard days and saw some of the most like disturbing things for some of the fact that I had to pretty much save him, you know? So, very last minute, he goes to LA. Flies to LA. I dropped Evan off at the airport. By any chance, do you have that date written down?
I do. I believe it was February 28th.
February 28th, he flew
You
out.
have his boarding pass.
Yes, I do.
I did verify everything that you said.
We got
So
the
you have
plane
his boarding
ticket,
pass
honey.
Holder, and he was flying from Nashville to Burbank.
Yes, correct.
You dropped him off
Plane ticket.
At B&A Airport.
and picked him up.
Yes, and picked him up. So during the time of him at LA, he had posted on his story a few, I think it was 1 or 2 snaps. I believe it was 2 snaps.
Evan, just to clarify, Evan had posted on his
Yes,
story,
Evan had posted on his story.
which we do have here.
So while the guy is at James Charles' house, he posted some pictures of the background, like trees. The girl, Kayla, is looking at his snaps and is like, that looks like James Charles' house. Okay? They were out for the weekend. Now, some of you are going to say, well, how do we know they hooked up? He's going to spill all the tea, guys.
Posted on his story these photos.
Yes, can I see that? Okay, so yes. So these
Those are pictures. Next receipt we have
during
here.
the stay.
This is a mess. This whole thing is a complete, utter mess.
But there was a text message that Kayla had messaged James and said, you know, crazy question around the lines of crazy question, but by any chance, is Evan with you? James?
So, again, if you guys not caught up, Kayla and Evan were dating. James Charles was going to book them for a photo shoot, Valentine's Day theme. They broke up due to domestic violence. He was beating her. Then when they broke up, James Charles, hey, you want to fly out for the weekend? And the guy went with James Charles for the weekend, and they smashed. This is the...
I believe that this is a learned behavior stemming from Hollywood, and it's also stemming from Diddy parties. You know what I'm saying? So like those Diddy parties, there's a lot of people that are out here that are celebrities that have not been, you know, blown out of the water because they have great lawyers to cover it up. And their lawyers, you know, will make sure that nothing is said about them. I believe James Charles is is a Diddy party victim at first that became a predator. And, you know, it's the saddest part about it is that hurt people will always hurt people and love people will love people, you know? So this is repeating the cycle of hurting people. So like I said, obviously James Charles was hurt at a young age, I believe by Diddy. And I believe that, you know, he spent a lot of money to cover it up. There's a lot of celebrities out here that are not coming clean and they're not going to say anything. And the lawyers are not going to say anything either because they paid a lot of money to make sure that their names wasn't brought up in the public.
Issue is you're hooking up with somebody that you know, allegedly, according to this interview, that you know, James, was beating up on your friend. Physically beating up on this girl. You caught charges for it. It's on AOL News that the guy caught charges for it.
Plays dumb and he goes, Evan, question mark?
So the girl texted James, hey James, is Evan with you? And James said, Evan, question mark?
she's like, my ex, Evan. And then he comes back, and James comes back and goes, why would I be with Evan? Evan was sitting right beside James, as James was literally lying to Kayla, which should have been his best friend.
And number one, I just want to add, this is already...
At that point in time, it's like, what are you going to do about it? Yeah, I'm with your ex-boyfriend. Yeah, we're friends. But he's over here now. What are you going to do about it? He's going through a hard time. I'm helping him. You know what I'm saying? That's the vibe I'm getting. So next receipt I have here.
Girlfriend's back and then swoop in and steal her boyfriend that's 6 years younger than you. That's already something that's very morally questionable, at the very least, if we're being generous. When you add in the abuse allegations and layer that into the psychology of what James was really doing, it's very disturbing. And I also just want to add that something that we do also have in our folder, which is very damning evidence, which we will not be putting on the screen because we aren't going to dox where someone lives. But you have a screenshot that we verified, which is a Find My iPhone screenshot of Evan being at James's house.
I disagree with that. James Charles' address is public information. I can Google it and find out where he lives. So you say you have the location, I would have showed it. I've been like, this is the geolocation of where Evan was on this day and time. This is where James Charles lived. I'm not doxing him. It's public information. You can Google it. He is I mean, guys, I can Google Marilyn Monroe's house. I didn't dox her. It's out there. I can Google insert celebrity's house. It's there. I didn't dox her. It's all public information. I think that was something that I didn't agree with. Like, Joe, show the receipts.
Exact weekend that you're claiming. Do you want to explain why you screenshotted that?
So,
the issue that I think a lot of people are having is the fact that James Charles hooked up with this guy that beat up on his girlfriend. Like, I was under the impression that Kayla and James Charles were best friends. They shot videos together. She broke up with her boyfriend. James flew out the boyfriend. Bro. The issue isn't that he is young, because he's of age. The issue isn't that he was gay for pay. A lot of these guys are. The issue is that you flew out a guy that you should have been on the side of your girlfriend, not the side of the boy. And if you're trying to crack the code like Tati Westbrook said that James likes to do, girl, it's easy to crack the code. These guys out here, they're for everybody. These guys are for, these men are dogs. They're for everybody, guy. Give a couple tequila shots, $5,000, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Girl, it's not that hard, James. Focus on people that are interested in you. Girl. What are we going to do, chat? All right, next receipt we're going to go over. Like I said, the video is very long. I clipped out the best parts. Here we go. Where we're at. Are we right here? Let me see.
Girlfriend's back and then swoop in. Your knowledge, what happened between them on that weekend together?
So on that weekend, Evan had Snapchatted me, and he was laying in James's bed. James's bed, as I can go back and think, is pretty much solid white comforter, white sheets, white pillowcases, just very, natural. And it was a very large bed because Evan snapped. It was like, just woke up. He didn't have a shirt on. And he was literally in James's bed. And he was like, I was literally like, this is the nicest bed I have ever slept in it.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, snap. Well, it took him quite a bit of time, to keep, snapping me back, which Evan's pretty good at snapping back. Well,
Evan does snap back quick.
So I had booked a photo shoot. And when I say booked a photo shoot, it was all on me. He didn't have to pay anything because he was planning on getting into modeling after he came back from LA. Well, the modeling shoot was supposed to be Monday morning, and we were supposed to leave Monday morning.
Can I just say something? Can I just pop in and say that why do I feel this is why I have no friends. Why do I feel like this guy that's spilling all the tea on Evan and Kayla? Why do I feel like he's gay and has a crush on Evan and wanted Evan too? Because I booked a modeling shoot for him, and were you his manager? Were you doing it to be such a good friend? You know what I'm saying? And is this why you're exposing James Charles? Because you liked Evan, and maybe you and Evan hooked up when he was, in his binge? Because they talk about that. It's just a thought, just food for thought. Don't come for me. I've seen the comments. I've seen what people are saying about it. That maybe he was kind of jealous that, at this point in time, everybody wanted Evan Johnson. He was a new 21-year-old straight boy trying to figure himself out. When he gets drunk, he hooks up with James Charles, and he's gay for pay. Hold on, here we go.
And get to North Carolina, and it would be that following day, and then he had to come back and go to Miami. So it was like crunching time and stuff. And it was hard for me to even get that date, and I got that date. Well, on Sunday, he messaged me and was like, hey, I'm going to stay an extra night just because, me and James haven't really got to, spend some, time together and, actually hang out completely one-on-one the whole time. So James ended up, changing my flight and all of that.
So James basically convinced Evan to stay longer.
Yes. Stay till that Monday.
Well, yeah, who cares about the photo shoot in North Carolina? I'm sorry about that, but Hollywood, California, Houston, Texas, New York, Miami, Hollywood, Los Angeles sounds a lot more exciting than North Carolina for a photo shoot, girl. I'm just saying. I don't blame him. It's a shitty thing to do that you had a friend book you this photo shoot, paid for it, and he's like, F off, I'm with James Charles. It is what it is. Sorry. James Charles had better opportunities for him out there. And that's why I think Evan Johnson was just clout chasing. Evan Johnson saw a better opportunity hanging around James Charles, even if it meant hooking up with his ex-girlfriend's best friend, James Charles. He's like, it's just clout chasing. Is it wrong? Yeah. Not right. But what are you going to do about it? Evan Johnson's a shitty person. And guess what? People like Evan Johnson probably make it in life, because we've seen people who with bad morals make it in life. And James Charles swooped in on this vulnerable guy who just going through a breakup and wants to be a model. And he just took advantage of it. And I think a lot of people are shaming that. And I'm not saying that that's okay. Man, it's kind of shitty. But I wouldn't be like, that's the nail in the coffin. I think, to me, way morally than all these little things, morally, it's the fact that you're hooking up with your best friend, that's a girl, her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, knowing that he was doing DV on her. That's the part. Because let me tell you what, if I had a girlfriend, all right, if I had a girlfriend and her and her boyfriend broke up, and I knew that he was beating up on her, no. I don't care how good you look. Girl, go over there. Fight your own demons. So now we're going to talk about what all happened. Here we go. After they were drunk.
What you guys get to do? What'd y'all do? And he was like, well, all we done was jack off together. Yeah. And I was like, okay. And then he goes, money's money. Made the comment, money is money.
Well, that's a bizarre comment.
Yeah, so...
No, it's not. Money's money. That's a bizarre comment. Bro, the guy was gay for pay. Don't shame him for that, because girls do it too. You know how many girls send guys pictures and videos for money, and men send other men pictures and videos for money, and men send women pictures and videos for money? It's not bizarre. It's money's money. There's so many straight men out there that will do it. So many women who are straight that will send other women pictures and videos for money. I don't think it's bizarre. It happens all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. The guy was gay for pay. Don't shame him for that. He's still figuring himself out. Hold on, here we go.
I was confused with that. Then shortly after, where he was so drunk, there is, let's just say, something on his phone, and they did have sex.
Oh!
So Evan had gotten drunk and then showed you on Snapchat or on his phone. There is a quick clip.
Yes, it was a very quick clip, and it was actually on Snapchat in his memories. but it was saved as camera roll for some odd reason.
And you believe this video depicted James Charles and Evan Johnson having sex?
Oh yes, 100%. You can hear 100.
You know, there's a little there. We have 1, 2, 3, 5 more clips to go to, and they're like a minute each. Let's just go. I can't.
Because Evan was engaging back, but I felt like Evan just was like playing a game, but James was very, very serious.
Right here.
James started the friendship as, I'm here for you. I've been through the same kind of things. Like, I want to give you advice. Listen to me. So I had went on my TikTok because when I say that I stand for Kayla, I stand for Kayla 100%, and I have her back for the rest of my life.
You know, this is very good, right? I think this is great because he could have easily been like, yeah, bro, bros are bros, get your bag, get your money, F Kayla, right? He could have very much done, he could have did that, right? I know people who in my life that probably would have done that, and I'm like, sneaky snakes, right? Slimy guys. But, you know, I think that the story is sensationalized because James Charles had sex with Evan Johnson. James Charles was gay for pay. But it's all legal stuff. It's shocking. It's dirty laundry being aired out, honestly. But to me, the main takeaway is that you're hooking up with this girl that got beat up physically by this guy, and you chose to hang out with that guy. What if he did that to you, James? Like, you're harming yourself in that sense.
She does not deserve what she went through. No female deserves what she went through.
Absolutely. Next clip.
Things on Snapchat, like, why is he using Instagram photos, sending back and
I
forth?
can tell you why he doesn't have Snapchat, because he was caught texting 16-year-old boys on Snapchat. That's what he was canceled for.
Wow.
So I assume he
Yeah, I mean, we know that. Let me see. We're going to skip
was
through.
flagged for video.
That's very true.
So there were some initial messages which we can put on the screen. James said, "Hello, I'm just now seeing these.
Receipts.
I'm absolutely not on his side and would really, really appreciate it if you would leave me out of this. I only ever spoke to him because he manipulated me into thinking his situation was similar to what I went through." That's very interesting to me.
James Charles at this point, deny. I was manipulated. We have a lot to unpack here because, you know, that girl is a popular influencer. She went to Coachella. James went to Coachella. That boy was supposed to go there, but James didn't want that girl to see that you know, they were together. So James left that boy at home or flew him back home, whatever the case may be. I think James Charles, according to what Evan Johnson's best friend said and Kayla's friend said, whatever the case may be, the whistleblower is saying, yeah, he was with James. I have receipts. I have pictures. I have geolocation. He was with James Charles. James Charles denying it. Now James Charles saying and this is a good point about James Charles. Watch.
6 years old. He's a multi-millionaire.
Right here. James Charles.
Because James Charles is 26 years old. He's a multi-millionaire. He's very successful. I think in a lot of ways, in the way he conducts himself, he's not smart, but he's not a dumb person. The idea that James Charles was manipulated by a 20-year-old boy who can barely string a sentence together in the videos that I've watched, hard for me to believe.
Yes.
When he says he manipulated me into thinking his situation was similar to what I went through, I'm putting myself in James's mind to understand what he's suggesting. Is I think in James's mind, he was canceled for something that wasn't true. When he was canceled for messaging underage boys, I think his side of the story is he thought that they were 18, but he did acknowledge that he was messaging 16-year-old boys. So I'm not sure exactly how in his brain he's edited history to make it different than what it was. And then he says, it was a really personal and sensitive topic that I had empathy for. Do you feel like James Charles?
No. Next receipts.
I was like confused by the surprise. Well, we get to in Evan's room, and then he notices like Evan takes a picture of himself and was like obviously him in his room. And the next picture was James bent over on his bed with his ass up in the air and was showing his ass and didn't say anything in the first picture. It's just like, how do you like that, daddy?
Whoa!
I'm smiling because I'm uncomfortable, and I want to also reiterate James is 26 years old and Evan is 20 at this point.
Yes, I'm 20. That's correct.
No, that's not an illegal age difference, but there's just something so disturbing to me about this being a pattern.
The Be Better guy, it's coming across like a righteousness attitude. I'm smiling because I'm disturbed. Hey, keep it real. That's funny as hell, bro. If I was in this interview, I'd have been like, James Charles was full-blown spread eagle, girl. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Full BBL. Hell no. And that's funny. And then the fact that he's saying that, I think it's disturbing that, that there was a 6-year age difference. It's like, there's a lot of people who have a big age gap. As long as it's legal and you're having safe and it's consenting adults, I don't see an issue with it. Hold on.
But I'll let you continue. So
during that time, I am aware that Evan had previously sent some save photos of, his private parts. And I just want to let you guys know that the next picture was a picture, but it said video, but there was no talking in it. And it just had a caption on it. And James was bent over completely naked on the bed and said, "Daddy, I want your big." So I was like, Evan, what are you doing? Because I don't know if you're leading him on or what, but I don't know what you're doing at this time because it can always backfire on you.
Yeah, I think that Evan Johnson was leading this. Girls, I know this drama's getting good. This damn eyelash. This some good tea, girl. This some good ass tea, girl. James Charles sending booty pics, talking about I want your big white. Ooh. But see, I think it's shocking to James Charles' young audience that he did that. But I don't think it's shocking to somebody who's 29, 28, 27. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, Evan Johnson was an opportunist. He was gay for pay. He was just down to clown. He's basically fluid in his sexuality at this point, especially if you get a couple drinks in him. And this kid, his friend, is like, "Are you sure you're doing that? What's going on?" The kid's head spinning. This other kid is like, "I can't believe that you're sending. Does that mean you're gay? What is going on? Are you leading James Charles on?" He's asking all these questions. Those same questions that probably Evan Johnson is thinking in his head that he hasn't even figured out yet. Again, James Charles is dealing with these kids who haven't figured themselves out yet. And now it's dangerous because now everybody knows about this. Everybody knows. Wow.
As an abuser.
Right here. This is the good part right here. Let me rewind it real quick. Did James Charles know? Right here.
That James Charles knew that Evan Johnson was an abuser and then pursued a sexual relationship with him afterward. Because that's the most concerning aspect of it all. And from speaking to Kayla, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, there was a situation where James Charles had wanted Evan Johnson and Kayla Malik to do a promotional material for his painted company for Valentine's Day, kind of having them be a couple of some kind, probably for his blush laundry, something like that. Looking back, that's obviously a little bit creepy because knowing that the entire time he was interacting with them, he wanted Kayla out of the picture and he's really the one that wanted Evan, that's already a little bit bizarre.
Yes.
So then James had reached out to Kayla and said something along the lines of, "Are we still good to do this Valentine's Day project?" And Kayla said, "Oh, so funny, actually, we literally just broke up yesterday. Evan did some of the worst things a human being could ever do to someone to me, abused me, explained the situation." And James said something.
So James came back after she said that and was like, "Can I have him now?" Kayla thought he was completely joking.
Joking or not, it was a bad joke. Justice for Kayla Malik. Thank you so much, guys. This is talk of the town. Everyone's talking about this right now. I'm just glad that Evan Johnson was of age. I'm glad that Evan Johnson has now been exposed. This is another beauty mark on James Charles' career. not so much for the gay for pay thing, not so much for flying out a 21-year-old. It's the fact that you are engaging in this guy who you, according to what this guy said, you knew was physically assaulting this girl to the point that he had caught a charge. Why would you want that in your home? Why do you want to be around that energy? There are lots and lots of guys out there, beautiful men, who you could pay for too, James, without all this drama. Evan Johnson, I looked at him, he's nothing to run home about. I don't think he's cute. Y'all might think he's cute. I don't think he's cute. I'm like, you're a bum. Bro, you're a bum. You got no job, no car, nothing going for yourself. You're a drunk, Evan Johnson. You abuse substances, the house, to the point that you're probably not even coherent. You hook up with anyone and everybody. You're going to go from men to women on a drop of a dime. You're opportunistic, say yes to every freaking thing. Like, why would you want that? You're just an easy lay. There's no fun in that. Where's the chase? You know what I'm saying? I think James Charles should have just been more transparent and then been like, hey, you know what, Kayla? I know we're friends. He's going through a hard time. I really feel for him. I'm going to fly him out for the weekend. Make sure he doesn't do anything crazy. Here on this interview, Evan Johnson was already popping pills, almost ending his life. And I'm going to fly him out and take care of him, blah, blah, blah. Then you have this other kid, the one that we heard speaking majority of the time, was like, I was the one there the whole time. I was the one taking care of him. And da-da-da. I think you were being used. Evan Johnson used Kayla. Evan Johnson used his friend here. Evan Johnson used James Charles just to gain whatever he can gain out of it. It's spiraling out of control. Evan Johnson needs to get sober, get clean, and get a job. Okay, go down, work at the Piggly Wiggly. Where you at, North Carolina? Go down, work somewhere out there. Come on. Go work at Dollywood. Go do something, girl. Do something with your life. Hang around. You know what I'm saying? James Charles, at the end of the day, James Charles is not going to give you a modeling career. James Charles is not going to put you in a video. You had to be a kept secret the whole time. It would be different if you made like a really good relationship with James Charles, and maybe later on, maybe you could have been his boyfriend if you wanted to come out that way. But honestly, I don't even think James Charles wants a boyfriend. Maybe you could have talked to James Charles, but like, girl, can I be your boyfriend? Like, openly. Can I be, you know what I'm saying? Like, have those real conversations. Let's give this a shot. I'm figuring myself out, but I'm here. Can we make somewhere? You know what I'm saying? You're that desperate? Damn. And again, I see it like Chanel. I see both sides of it. James Charles should have never interacted with Evan Johnson. It's too much drama. Love you guys. Mwah.